30 days till the NFL draft, and the betting market says Cam Ward's going number one. Minus 1,200.
Jeez Louise.
Abdul Carter, really the only other option to go number one at this point, at 6-1. Travis Hunter, 34-1. Shedeur Sanders, 40-1. This after what Ryan Wilson called one of the best pro days he's ever seen in person. Cam Ward, great down in Coral Gables. And Ryan Wilson has an article up right now at CBSSports.com saying that the Titans have no choice but to take him number one after his pro day. We have Ryan Wilson with us, along with former Titans GM Ran Carthon, both at Ward Pro Days yesterday. So, Ran, I want to ask you if you agree with what Ryan said, that the Titans really have no choice. It's a no-brainer at this point.
We won't go that far just because it's a long process.
There's always a choice.
There's still 30 more days, and a lot can happen in between that time. But I'd say this. His performance yesterday, you know, in using Cam's words, you know, he felt like he solidified it. There was a throw, and I think Ryan remembered this throw where he rolls left and he makes an on-point throw to Restrepo, I believe, and he looks at the Titans brass and he's like, I'm solidifying this today. You know, and that was his words to the GM, you know, Mike Borgonzi after that. So that just shows a little bit his competitive side. But I think Cam wants this more than what people will care to know.
Hassel, I would just like to point out that Amanda never clapped for me when I came on set. She couldn't cheer loudly enough for the arrival of Ran Carthon. I'm glad to have Ran here as well.
Everyone now gets a round of applause. No, I always enjoy. I don't think I've seen you since the Super Bowl, probably.
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's good to see you guys.
In person.
In person, right, absolutely.
Which Super Bowl? The one like over a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Not this past one.
We were all hanging out in Vegas. That was a cool Super Bowl.
So what is it that made this such a great pro day compared to some of the other #1 draft picks you've seen recently?
It was so crisp, that it was one of the longest pro days I remember. Is that the longest pro day you've ever been to?
By far.
Yeah, and Rand's been doing this too. It started at 11, and I got back to my hotel room after an hour drive at 10 o'clock.
Oh, geez.
So it was probably 7+ hours in terms of when you start testing the kids and measuring hands and height, weight, and then you save the quarterbacks to last, which isn't unconventional. But it could have been a situation where he just had a slightly above average pro day, but you had waited so long, you were burned out on just standing around, and he exceeded expectations. The ball comes out of his hand so quickly, and it's just a flick of the wrist, and the ball travels 30 yards on a rope. And we heard Rand talk about the athleticism and his ability to move outside the pocket, and we saw that, of course, at Miami during the fall. And then here you see him at the end, and he talked to Rand about this in the interview that he and Rand did on CBS Sports about how he wanted to show that not only was a good athlete, but he had great hands too. So he can literally do everything, it feels like.
Versatile is what he said. He's versatile.
Yeah, he said, I want them to know, like, I'm 1 for 1 on a touchdown. Your interview, by the way, was great. Go find it if you will. Okay, so right now, both of you, I believe, have Cam Ward ahead of Shedeur Sanders. It seems like that he even went up a little bit about that. Okay, so here's the thing. Emory Hunt, we love him, is getting a lot of flack from a lot of our experts here. He's looking good in the yellow, though. And by the way, I don't know if you guys can see it on TV, he has cocktails on his shirt. Yeah. Emory, are you still going with Shedeur Sanders above Cam Ward in your quarterback rankings?
At 120, about 53 in the third. I keep it straight about what's on the field. Anything that happens after that, I don't care about. And when you look at what Shedeur Sanders has done on the football field, I would love to just go to the fourth quarter when the game is on the line. This guy is lights out in that scenario. You talk about going back to Jackson State, Soul Bowl, Alcorn State. Great job lead these guys down the field for a touchdown to get them into the Celebration Bowl, in which he got them down inside the red zone, got the score, but the defense gave up a touchdown late. The next year, Celebration Bowl once again. This time Travis Hunter is there. 4th down, throws a deep ball down the sideline. Travis Hunter catches it in the corner to send the game to overtime, in which the defense gave up big plays, and they lost. Colorado, how many times we were all up at 3 o'clock German time watching Colorado play because they started the game late at night, and he's out there leading the team down in a need-to-have it situation. So give me those type of plays. That's what the NFL is all about. How you do in these critical situational moments. 3rd down offense, backed up offense, end of game situations. That's where Shedeur Sanders excels. I'm not worried about the taking the sacks. The best way you can help him out in that regard, run the ball. They ran the ball probably 9 times out the entire 2 years he was at Colorado. So run the football. He's not throwing it 35 times a game. That's how you calm that sack number down. He is a clean prospect. But if you want to put Cam Ward ahead of him, I'm not hating, because Cam Ward is also a very good prospect. Don't let them fool you and tell you that neither one of these guys would have been first-round picks last year, because that's just funny money.
Just funny money. So let me ask you guys this. And I was listening to the podcast. You guys just recorded it today or yesterday. I don't even know when. And you did give Shedeur Sanders his flowers when it comes to that. His pocket presence and saying Cam Ward maybe goes for those shots. Shedeur Sanders can extend those plays maybe a little bit better. What are you looking for when you're comparing these two quarterbacks?
I think they're both, their games are a little different. And, you know, I think it becomes a little bit overstated when Shedeur is put in this box of he's not athletic. You know, he's plenty athletic. And there's a certain thing that you call, there's the Lamar Jackson athlete, and then there's the, Tom Brady was a better pocket athlete than he was given credit for. And so Shedeur is a pocket athlete. And the big thing about the National Football League, I call it, it's cute to play Golden State Warriors football in October when the weather's great. But at some point in late December and January, when it comes time to make the playoffs, you got to be able to stand in the pocket, process, and play quarterback. And that's where Shedeur excels.
Ryan?
I love Emory. I'm pretty sure he's drinking.
Why are you looking at me? Because you're not looking at him. It's like you're looking at me and avoiding eye contact with Emory right now.
I'm pretty sure he's drinking those pina coladas on his shirt because he has said some wild things. He'll text me later because he can't get back at me now. But, I mean, he and Rand are both right. Like, Shedeur is a first-round pick, and there's no question about it. But the thing I come back to is that when you start measuring the differences, the minutia, Cam is a little bigger. He's a little bit more physical. He's a little better in space. He has a stronger arm. And when you start adding those things up, Rand, it feels like it makes more sense to go with what feels like translates quicker to the next level than Shedeur, who does a lot of things extremely well, but sometimes you have to help guys who aren't the athlete that Cam is or doesn't have the arm that Cam does.
No, and I agree. And, you know, the situation that if whomever's going number one, whether it's Cam, Shedeur, or whomever, the Titans has put expenses into rebuilding that offensive line to protect them better. So whoever goes there is in a situation where you just signed a left tackle, you take a top 10 pick, move him over to right, you have a solidified center, you have a top round draft pick at left guard, and you just signed a veteran right guard. So they put resources into improving the O-line. So it doesn't matter who goes where, you have to be protected. And I think you saw people talk about Cam's calmness in the pocket. He had better protection at Miami versus what Shedeur had. And so I think, but that should be kudos to Shedeur, because even through that pressure, he still managed to complete 73% of his passes.
So I just want to clarify, and Emory, we're going to give you the last word. Are you putting Cam ahead of Shedeur?
I have Cam slightly ahead, but I don't think you can go wrong with either.
Okay, Emory, last word for you.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, 2016, Goff went #1 overall. 2018, Baker Mayfield went #1 overall. 2020, the guy who I compare Shedeur Sanders to, Joe Burrow, #1 overall. Shedeur has had runs of 38, 30, 42. We just watched as a country Joe Burrow sprint 50 yards down the field against the Giants on Monday Night Football. This guy has all of the goods that #1 overall picks tend to go to. Is because people don't like Dion. That's why they're taking it out on Shedeur.
Emory, Ryan, thank you. You guys just did the podcast. What can we expect when we download it, Ryan?
Fun.
It's fun. A nicer GM who's co-host. We talked Cam Ward yesterday, and today we talked about the whole draft process, talked Travis, talked Shedeur. So already 2 episodes in, there's a ton to get to.
Sounds great. 30 days away from the first round of the NFL draft.